You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, well, happy Monday, I hope.
It should be a good Monday. I don't really know if it's a bad Monday for anybody.
I don't know yet, I guess. It's still early. Still early in the day.
Mm-hmm. So, I want to talk to you about something I did on Friday, which I thought was kind of fun. And maybe some of the people out there would know it. Because sometimes I feel like some people should know certain things. And then, you know, when they're like, I don't know what that is, it's confusing to me.
Right?
You know what I mean?
How do I know about it? And
yeah.
what?
But,
yeah.
you know, that's just the way the world is. But
It is,
I should
yes.
get used to it. Anyway, are you familiar with the name Moobies? Does that sound familiar at all?
Mooby?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for some reason, Jay and Silent Bob comes into my head.
Good.
Is that right?
That is absolutely right. So apparently they've been doing pop-up restaurants across the country.
Oh, yeah?
And a few weeks ago, I found out they were having one in Nashville. And I was like, oh, shit, that's cool. So I looked into it, and I got to go to Moobies, technically, on Friday.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. So what they did is there's a bar restaurant down in Nashville called the Tin Roof. And they were the spot for this Moobies pop-up. And you get to order food that is inspired by Moobies. So you get your cow tipper, which is your hamburger.
Sure.
Or your cock smoker, which is your chicken sandwich. Your hater tots, which are just tater tots. Your onion rings to rule them all, which is your onion rings, obviously.
Yeah.
There was probably a few more items that I don't remember right offhand, but these were the things that we got. And they also offered Mooby's beer, which I looked into it because I was like, I wonder what that is. And apparently I'm assuming they cut a deal with whatever local breweries around. And for this particular spot, they teamed up with Tailgate Brewery, which is a local in Nashville, which I didn't partake in that because because I've had Tailgate before, and no disrespect to their beer, but it's just I've never been impressed with it. So I was like, but I did partake in some other offerings that they had. They had CBD gummies, which I thought, why not? They called them Bucci. They called them Bucci Bears.
Bucci Bears?
But they're very mild in comparison because I think they were only like 10 milligrams. And it seems for me to get any kind of feeling from it, I have to be up in like the 20s. And then I can just kind of be like...
Starting to run with the big boys now.
Yeah, apparently. Those cookies are still kicking my ass. I tried this because I thought, you know, by some possibility... Some of the last times that I had eaten a full cookie of those 63 milligrams, I had also been imbibing with a little alcohol, and I thought, well, maybe the combination of the two is just what's making me go woo. And I thought, okay, so what I'll do this time is I'll just have one cookie, no alcohol, and see what happens. Still the same thing.
Oh wow!
You know, it's just like, whew, and I'm gone, and then I'm dizzy.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like a dizzy spell. Like I get dizzy. Where it's just like I can barely walk and the room is spinning, and then all that does is make me, you know, nauseous, which I don't like.
Yeah, that's not good.
So I need to like try a half a cookie and see what happens. Anyway, they had, now this was odd. Like I wasn't sure what to expect because it seems to be all the craze now is like seltzer water.
Oh yeah,
where,
like hard seltzers.
Yeah. So they had Cbd Seltzer, and I thought, okay, well, let's look into that. So it's a 4-pack and it's got
Yeah.
the Mooby's brand on it. And I'm sure that there's an actual brand attached to it, but I couldn't tell you what the brand is. But they had 4 flavors, and they have different tiers of intensity, I guess. So there are like 2 that were 10 milligrams, 1 that's 20, and 1 that's 30. Now, I tried the 2 10s, didn't really get any kind of feeling out of it. But I will say, this was like legit seltzer water, like not sugar based.
Oh,
like
yeah?
it was sugar free, vegan, everything. So it's like having
So
an
no
Alka Seltzer.
fun.
Yeah, and you just get like a hint of whatever flavor they say is in it.
Sure.
But what was interesting about it is that it did kind of help with a little indigestion I had with the food.
go.
So
Yeah.
it was like having an
The
Alka Seltzer
seltzer
after
was
the fact.
helping.
So, but what I got now, like I said, what I kind of mentioned was what we had. But what I got personally, because I wanted to try it, and I've never had this opportunity to try it, is they had one of the cow tipper options was a Beyond Burger. Now, I've never had a Beyond Meat burger or any kind of thing like that.
Interesting. I figured you would have.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't seem to be readily available around here. Like I know that
okay.
Burger King has like Impossible Burgers and stuff like
Right.
that, but again, that's something I have not gone out of my way to go get it.
All right.
Pretty much. So this was an option, I thought, and this was like a full vegan burger. Everything on it, the mayonnaise, the cheese, the burger, everything was vegan.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, let's try this out. If you handed that burger to anybody and just said, here's a hamburger, I promise you would not know the difference. That's how amazing it was. Now, when I say amazing, I do want to step that back. I thought I was just having like a McDonald's hamburger. Like the flavors in my mouth tasted
Okay.
like a McDonald's hamburger, like you just get the regular cheeseburger.
So
whatever.
more impressive that it tasted like meat, not necessarily an amazing burger.
Right. Like it
Okay.
didn't blow me away in the sense that, oh my God, this is the greatest hamburger I've ever had. I was like, oh, this is very familiar. It tastes like getting a cheeseburger at McDonald's or something like that. But
But were we sure McDonald's had real meat this whole time anyway?
who knows?
I mean,
And honestly, I feel like the only thing that was kind of a hint that it was vegan is if you look, you know how when cheese melts on the wrapper and everything, it's got a, like, you know what it looks like. It's like, oh, yeah. It was doing that on the wrapper, but it looked off. Like,
like it wasn't sticking?
No, it was sticking to the paper.
Oh,
It just,
okay.
but you could tell it was not legit cheese. Like there was just a texture and a look to it. There was like,
Yeah,
there's something
we
off
haven't
about this
mastered
cheese.
that yet.
But I do want to show you this. I did get this.
Oh.
It's a Mooby's
that's-
lunchbox,
That is fun.
and I'll post it for everybody to see later on. But it's a purple, like little lunchbox, got the little Mooby's logo on it and everything. It's pretty cool.
Kind of looks like the old school McDonald's like kids meals
Yeah,
boxes.
except
Yeah.
larger.
Right. Well, much larger. Yeah. But
But yeah, it was like that was $3 extra, and I thought, what the hell? It was a little keepsake because
Yeah.
all the stuff they put it in, they had like your white paper bags, they had purple napkins, the whole shebang, like it's a legit restaurant.
Yeah.
But obviously, they get ruined with grease and all
Sure.
the drippings and stuff like that. So I couldn't very well hang on to that without attracting pests. So I got the lunchbox just because I wanted a little
Yeah.
keepsake to it.
well, that's fine.
So if you're ever curious about Beyond Meat, I would, give it a try. I was really surprised
You
by
know
it.
what? I had actually tried the Burger King one once. Like when we were rolled through the drive-thru, I was like, just get one. We'll share it just to try. Who gives it? Yet it wasn't bad.
No.
Like honestly, if they could master like the texture and everything, I would be 100% okay switching over to that. And I know that I'm probably supposed to have morals or something else to stand on about eating meat or whatever, but I like it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have it every day, but I do like it. It was always a texture thing for me. I was like, it just the texture's not quite there for meat, but it's I couldn't tell the difference looking at it for sure and
Yeah.
tasting it. I don't know if it was just because it was in my head. I was already having one. So I'm not convinced, like, if you would have put them side by side, that I would have noticed if you hadn't told me which was which.
Yeah.
Like,
And
get that bias out of my head to start and then just make my own decision then. But yeah, I mean,
I mean, that was
getting
actually one of the things that I did is I was eating the burgers. Like when I first took that bite and I was like, wow, just kind of impressed by, I couldn't tell the difference. I started picking at the burger meat and just trying it separate, saying, I really can't tell the difference. Like even texturally, it didn't, like I was starting to wonder. I was like, did they give me a Beyond Burger? Because I don't know. But again, looking at the cheese and kind of putting that together, I was like, well, it'd be kind of stupid to put vegan cheese on this and then give me an actual hamburger.
Well,
So,
I mean, we'll see how, busy they were and how much the workers cared at that point.
Yeah. Well, everyone else there was pretty cool. I mean, they had some interesting pieces of view askew artwork on the walls. They had the Mooby's logo everywhere. If you look toward the back, they had pictures that said Employee of the Month, and it was the cast of Clerks 2, which I thought,
fun.
That's cool. And then if I paid it, like I didn't catch it at first, but I happened to be walking by their counter, their bar counter, and there was a sign like cruddily made that says, if you plan on stealing from us, let us know, from Clerks. And I was like, oh, that's primo. That's good.
Nice.
So they did a really good job at setting this place up to kind of have that movies feel, but also pay homage to the other movies and stuff like that. So I really had a lot of fun just checking it out.
Sound like fun. Yeah, like a one-time thing.
Yeah, no big deal.
See me becoming a regular. But,
But it'd be pretty cool. And maybe, who knows, I could go back down there some other time. Like, I've been to that part of Nashville before, and it's that deep downtown where it just gets a little like, I'm uncomfortable here because there's too much traffic and, But
it's too big city feel for you.
Yeah, because once I got
people,
I was looking for a parking space, and I was like, I'm just going in to grab food, and I'm leaving. I'm not staying, so I don't want to pay for like $20 parking or something like that. So I started looking around, and luckily they still had those parking spots with the meters, which I didn't realize we were still doing that, but I'm glad we are. And I found a spot nearby, and I was like, oh, thank God. So luckily it was an in and out kind of situation, and we got our food. It was really good.
There you go. Oh, you didn't stay? You didn't stay and eat it there?
No, because I was just like,
a little much, yeah.
Yeah, because of, pandemic and stuff like that. Because we're having...
Is it crowded?
Well, I mean, actually not, because it was like middle of the day, because I left work early for this. I had planned on doing more than just that day, but
I mean, it took a while to find parking. That's understandable.
Yeah, not as long as you'd think, but I still had to make a circle to come back.
I was trying to
around.
help you out, man.
I know, but no, COVID, man. It's that's where I'm kind of. It's making a surge. Like, I wanted to go see my brother this weekend and see my nephew for the second time, and maybe actually spend some time with the little tyke. And COVID just keeps surging. And at first it was him, and now it's us, because schools are closing down, by the way, for the next week because of this. Everyone in the so I don't want to get off on a tangent. I know that everybody probably tired of hearing about this, but just follow me on this logic here. Tell me how it makes sense to say that kids can come to school with a positive COVID test as long as they're not showing symptoms.
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is actually something I've heard through numerous school systems in this state. As long as you're not showing symptoms, you can come to school if you've had a positive test. It's okay.
So, in other words, if you have the ability to hide the fact you're positive, you can still come to school?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they wonder why they have a surge in cases, and now they're having to shut numerous school systems down for a week because of this, because they need to contain it. Furthermore, and I'm going to admit this, we found out that my oldest, who lives with us, tested positive. So she's quarantined in a room.
Yeah.
But the school, my youngest daughter's school, said that Calliope could still come back to school because she's not testing positive. So it's okay. It's okay if she comes, even though the kid, I don't want to say, she doesn't quite grasp it, like the gravity of it all. And she's 7.
She's young. Yeah,
she's 7.
Yeah.
We're already trying to keep her from going back there. Like when we came home yesterday, where did she go? She ran right back to her sister's room. She was like, no!
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
And we told her that we've got 2 bathrooms. Don't go to your normal bathroom. Use our bathroom until all this is gone. What did she do this morning? Run straight to her. And I was like, God, kid, come on.
Yeah.
But again, she's 7.
She doesn't understand.
She's, you know, it's frustrating because we're trying to do our best to contain it. But this is exactly why we don't think it's a good idea for her to go back to work. I talked to my job as soon as I found out, and I said, hey, my oldest daughter tested positive.
Yeah, like you're supposed to do for tracing. And
I was like, so I just wanted to know she's in the house, she's quarantined, she's not showing any symptoms, but, you know, she tested positive. And they said, are you vaccinated? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, well, then you can come to work. I was like, all right. So, but I'm going to do my due diligence because I can still carry it. And I'm going to go
just
back
wear
to
your mask.
Yeah, one of our rules at work is if you've been vaccinated, you could go maskless if you wanted to, and it's fine. Yeah. But I feel like
I think a lot of places started that maybe a little too soon.
Yeah.
Like maybe as they were thinking they were dangling some sort of treat in front of those who like didn't want it. They were like, you know, if you do, you don't have to do this anymore. And then we were like, oh wait, they're still contagious. This is maybe not a great idea.
No, and I'm not going to subject my coworkers to the possibility because I could have it. I could have it and just not know it.
Right. Because
you know, I'm just carrying it around on my back.
For you, you're not showing symptoms. Yeah.
So I don't want to be responsible for getting someone sick. So I will be going back to mask wearing. And when they ask why, it's like, I'm doing it for you. Because, hey, guess what? That's what it's all about.
That's what it.
You selfish pricks.
That's what it's supposed to be about. Yeah.
I've got no chill for this no COVID thing. I honestly wish that more companies would start mandating vaccines, mandating regular testing, because the surges are coming back. I know it just feels inconvenient for so many people, but you know what? This isn't rights. This is a health concern. This is well beyond your fucking rights. So if you don't like what I'm saying, sorry, but not sorry.
Now I've kind of lost empathy for that as well now. And it's just nothing more than just being tired of and over and over and over and over and over. And eventually you're just like, well, I can only feel so much if this is choices people are going to be making. And I, you know.
And look, I'll even go, this is the smallest little olive branch I'll give because I've heard this argument before. Well, anytime so-and-so got a vaccine, they got really sick and they almost died or whatever, they had to be hospitalized, then talk to your doctor. You know, talk to your doctor about it. See if there's a possibility that you could get sick because it can happen. I understand that. I do know that there are a few cases out there where it can happen. So I'm not saying, you know,
this was never a cure.
No, it's a vaccine.
Right.
There's
it's
a
supposed to
complete
help
difference.
slow it down. It's supposed to help you survive it if you do catch it, is like the hope, you know. And again, with anything, there's always going to be that exception that nobody saw.
Yeah. And,
you know, but like a health issue maybe that wasn't caught because of a thing, you know. And
but we're still,
that's unfortunate, but
we're still at a point where less than 1% of all hospitalized cases are vaccinated people. Less than 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Out of all the people in the world, there are very, 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 very
I
few.
would just challenge everyone to listen to their doctors. You go to them for your medical care for anything else, and you trust what they're saying, and probably take other medications that they have recommended to you for your own health. Don't look at Facebook or Twitter or your family or anything like that. Go to your doctor. You know my health history. You know it's in the vaccine. Is this something I'm healthy enough for and would be a benefit?
Yeah.
And don't tell me about it because you're shoving it down my throat. Just listen to what they say. If you've trusted them with your healthcare this whole time, then I don't see why this would be that exception where they're going to want to start screwing you over and killing everybody off. I don't know. But again, I don't run in those circles, so I don't really know all of the different things that are floating around as to why people don't want it. I really don't. I've heard a few, like just in conversations even this week, where I'm like, oh, that's a new thing I didn't know I was supposed to get, and I feel cheated, by the way.
Yeah, because we're supposed to be superhuman.
I should be
at this point.
superhuman now. Yeah, I was like, nothing sticks to me. My cell service didn't improve.
I
don't
mean,
glow in a light.
if at the start they told me getting the vaccine would turn me into Magneto, sign my ass
Dude,
up.
right?
You know,
Like, who doesn't want superpowers?
right?
Come on. Like, okay, I know this is another side tangent, but every time I see like those TV shows where like a kid gets superpowers and I just want to be a kid. No, you don't.
No, you do
What?
not.
Who's writing this stuff? Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, I can fly now, but I'm not gonna be normal." Of course not, because you're superhuman and that's cool.
Right?
There's no way people would be like, "Oh, hell no to superpowers. Give me a break. You're a liar."
Yeah. Just insanity. But hey, you guys didn't come here to listen to us rant about COVID. I apologize. So hey, what have you been playing this week?
Okay, you're gonna hate me. I haven't really played anything this week. I will
fair.
admit to y'all siblings, life was a little bit much more this week for responsibilities I had to tend to. And when I was done with it, I laid down on the couch. I didn't want to sit at a PC. I hardly could stare at a screen. So I really didn't play anything, but I did watch a bunch of trailers for stuff coming up. So I at least know what's coming down the pike or whatever. But yeah, this week was a gameless week for me.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
I
Sometimes
would
we
have
need a
much
break.
rather been playing games. But so as exciting as that was, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I was trying to get through a few games just to kind of prep myself for what we had planned this week, but
Because life again.
yeah, because it shifted back and forth. So
This week we just had no idea what was going on. I'll throw it out there.
Yeah.
Maybe we're supposed to sound professional. Like
no, I mean
no, it's
things happen, and
we're
luckily,
not lining up.
we've got several things already kind of planned. So shifting gears on what we were going to do or talk about, I'm trying to make it easier on myself. So if things like this come up, we're going to be like, well, all right, so I'll shift this back and we'll move. So
That's smart.
for everybody else, we probably don't do this often enough, but now you can look forward to next week knowing the next week we're going to be talking about No More Heroes 3.
Yeah.
That is a guarantee, unless something really just throws us all off.
I don't get power anymore after that.
Because I've not had time, like even if I had played it, which I have not, unfortunately, I don't think I would have had time enough to really get a good handle on it.
Sure.
So, and that's fine. So next week, No More Heroes 3. But to prep for that, I had been replaying the No More Heroes series.
Yeah.
Now I had played, I think I'd finished 1 by last week, and then I'd started on 2. And because had been talking about the changes there and everything like that. I will say this about part 2. One thing I really appreciate with it compared to the first one is there is just this through line. If you want to go and play the bosses, fight the bosses, you do it. You don't have to do all the side mission stuff. You don't have to. If you are ready and you want to go, you can do it. Boom. No earning money to enter to go to the next thing, which is what they did in the first one. And from what I hear, they've re-implemented that in part 3. But to what degree, I don't know. I appreciate that. But there is a training area, a gym, which like they had in the first one to kind of help boost your stats so you can, have a little extra health or a little extra strength to kind of help you with your battles. I forgot about this one training session, which is your strength training. I remember, and this is 10 years ago at least, I remember being able to pull this off. I remember it being frustrating, but I know I did it. I couldn't do it this time. Like, I got so far and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I can't do this anymore because I'm not going to be angry with this game.
Sure.
But what it is they've turned it in, like I've mentioned before, a lot of these side missions or mini games are 8-bit now. And they're still as great as I remember. I had a lot of fun with them. But this particular one, you have your gym trainer throwing barbells at you. So what you have to do is you have to punch them as they come. Or he'll throw them low and you got to kick them.
Okay.
The farther into this training you get, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and he's just chucking them at you. And then he'll blow you kisses, and you've got to duck them. So it's just
I want to catch him.
You'd think that would be the thing to do.
Yeah, that would have been so much more cute. Like, now I have to catch your kisses, and he, like, blows them way away from you or something.
Yeah. But it's this constant barrage of, like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it just gets so fast and frustrating, and you can only mess up so much. Like, they give you a little bit of leeway on how many times you can get hit, but beyond that, then you fail. And then you've got to repay to do the training again.
Oh, yeah.
So if it was just retry, maybe I could give it, but the fact that I have to repay to train again and all that mess, it's just like, I can't take this. And
can you just, like, cheat and save it before and then, like,
you can
start over?
but,
I mean, I know that's not ideal, but if we want to be garbage about it, here's a way.
I mean, there are people who said just do that until you get it right.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's all well and good, but it's that repetitiveness that I've mentioned before, where you have to go through the sequence, you have to hear the same spiel all over again.
Yeah.
It's like, please, for the love of God, just let me get to the game.
Uh-huh.
So that element of these games are probably the one thing that maybe when I initially played them it didn't bother me, but now it bothers me because I'm just like, why can't we just skip all this, nonsense? Sure. I just don't understand why one time I get it, that's fine. Second time, no, cut the bullshit.
Right.
I've heard this, nonsense before.
Right. He wants to kill me, blah, blah, blah. I've heard the speech. Yeah.
But despite not having my strength maxed out, I still beat the game, no problem.
There you go. See?
And so it's not a necessity. You can get as far as you can.
We're superhuman already.
Yeah. So I got my my groove back and was whipping ass like the best of them. And for the first time, and this was one of those games that I'd been wanting to play, but I guess I'm too cheap to buy, was Travis Strikes Again, which we saw at PAX about 2-3 years ago, whenever first time we went, I think.
Yeah,
on the
like
Switch.
2017, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, something like that. 2017, 2018, one of those times. Anyway,
yeah.
I just, since I was close to beating part 2, I thought, why don't I look into this real quick? See where it's at on the PlayStation Store, because that's where I've had it on my wish list for some time. And I guess this was a week for indie sales because it was like $10, and I didn't hesitate. I was like, sold, and bought it. So there it is. And I wasn't sure how I'd feel about the game because I remember the format being different, because this is more of a hack and slash, what do you call it? Top down kind of.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be terminology for that specific like camera angle on the game, but I always just do that like 3D top down kind of
isometric
XCOM
maybe
feel, kind of like how they move. Yeah.
So, I remember playing it and I thought, I guess this could be fun, but at the same time, there was a part of me that said this could also be kind of repetitive after a while and just be like, I don't know. But I've been having a lot of fun with it, mainly because the way they're presenting the game, the combat can get a little stale, but they do find a way to mix it up a little bit and try to keep it fresh and interesting, because the concept of the game is that you and another character whose daughter you killed in the first game, if you can, and this is where the narrative through line follows, which I thought would be kind of fun. He's coming looking for revenge, and then you both get sucked into this game console called the Death Drive Mark II, and it's supposed to be this mystical weapon or government. I don't know. It gets kind of crazy. So you play within games of, I think the concept initially, like when you kind of heard about it, or even with the trailer, you were kind of under the impression that you were going to be playing actual indie games, like within those games. Okay. And that's not the case. So it was a little disappointing for me, but there are homages to other indie games, because the t-shirts that you can collect within the game, they are actual logos from certain indie games. So I've seen like Hotline Miami, Super Hot, Minute, Hollow Knight, you name it. Gris. They're all in there. So, Papers, Please, Absolver. I'm just trying to think of some of these coming to mind.
Yeah, you're just like, I love these games that you're mentioning right now.
Hyper Light Drifter. I could go on. Anyway,
Yeah.
you got it. There's
Oh, fun though.
just about any indie title that you can think of. There's a T-shirt for it. You can buy it and then wear it if you want to. So that's kind of paying homage. Plus, I thought if you pay attention to some of the dialogue, there was I can't remember the line specifically, but it was a nice little, that's awesome. When they were talking about how the game is coming together, Travis made mentions like, you know what? We'll just be picked up by Devolver. They'll release this thing. That's what they do. This is crazy enough for them. And I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
Not wrong.
No, but he's so on point. And I was like, that's great. But in between games, because you'll start within a game, play that, and then you'll come back out. Then you have to collect death balls for the next game. And how they do that is like a text-based adventure. So you get on your bike and say you're going to go play Travis Strikes Again, and then it turns into this green DOS-looking, green and black text adventure. So you're just essentially following the text. And
way old school RPG, eh? Let's do it. Yeah.
And at first, it was like I wasn't sure how that was going to work, and the story just kind of ran through. I'm just sitting there reading the text, and I was like, all right, this is how it's going to go. And then I get the death ball, come back. The second time I had to do it, you get told, it's like, so we're going to do this again? It's like, yeah, this is how this works. It's like, but no one wants to read this shit. It's like, you came here for an action game. No one wants to sit here and read. It's like, fine, what do you want to do? It's like, well, speed it up. And I was like, fine, we'll speed it up. And then it just kind of cut to the chase, got the death ball, and then we're back to the game. And I was like, see, that's the kind of meta stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting bits like that in there. So don't just dismiss it immediately for little things like that. And even the games themselves don't play the same. So you're not getting the same experience within each game. So like the first one, you're just running through hack slash. And it's like, here, we're kind of presenting you with the basics. The second game that I've played, they do this thing where you're kind of in a maze. And then you have to find your way to a house where a murder took place. Then you go in there, you fight some enemies, you come back out, and then there's a new maze, and it's presented like cases. And then eventually you get to the boss, you fight him. Third game is kind of...
I want to play this.
It's really interesting. The third game was kind of a platformer, but also you were running around in a mansion. And I feel like each of these games were paying homage to something. Like I at first thought the third game was paying homage to something like Resident Evil because of the mansion. But then they would do these little text boxes at the bottom. And they had a very unique look to them that was not Resident Evil. So I wasn't sure what they were paying homage to. And so there might be an indie game out there that they're pointing to specifically that says this is what we're trying to be like, wink and nod, you get it, and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. So I'm not sure about that, but there were some platforming elements which I was trying to play with Katrina because you could do co-op, which kind of helps, but we had to cut co-op off in that world because there were these platforming elements where you're jumping on these donuts, trying to get to the next area, and we couldn't do it simultaneously. Like if one of us would fall off, they would shift us all the way back, even if the other person got to the other platform.
Kind of like Guacamelee, right?
Yes. So it was just
Or we would just kind of like hang out and let you take us through the whole level.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, you're going too fast. All right, well, I guess we're over there now.
Yeah. So we just said, you know what, I'll take care of this, and then you can come back after, because it was just like too frustrating. But anyway, I'm anxious to see what the other games are. I feel like there was another one that we unlocked, but right off the top of my head, I think it was just like a maze. Like you're just going through like these little areas, and you just have to find your way through. Still the hack and slash, but you're just working your way through a maze. And then there was a race in between levels that you had. So you'd go there, collect this thing you need for the race. You'd come back, you'd do the race, which is kind of Tron-esque. And even the way they did the race, it was frustrating at one point because you have to shift gears to speed up. And you have to be very particular about how you do it because they'll show you like the dots. It's like, you start at 1, then you have to shift to 2, 3, and 4. And you can't do it all at once. You have to wait until it says shift now, and then you shift and shift now. And they'll move it like a maze where it's not always the same. So if you fail, it's not going to be the same way they do it. So you have to pay attention to how you do it.
So I can't really get better.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, I think at one point I lost so much, they were just like, look, we'll simplify it for you. Got it? Cool.
Thank you.
And I was like, yeah.
Thank you. I know you were probably trying to make me feel stupid, but thank you.
Yeah, that's what I got. I was like, all right, I'll take it. It doesn't matter at this point. But I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I'm trying to get an idea where it falls within the game series, because at first I heard it was like a side game, but at the same time I've heard that it does correlate. So I feel like this takes place after part 2, but there's also some sequences in part 2 that feel like they're right before 3 is going to start. Mm-hmm. So I think this game is in between those two segments. Okay. So not the flash forwards, but like right after the ass end of part 2, then this game happens. Then all those flash forward sequences you see in part 2 is after this game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I want to mention about this is I read into this, and I'm really trying to look for the clues about it, but I found out that this game is a very personal game to Suda51, because he said this is like him venting his frustrations at EA. And I didn't know this, but apparently he made a game with EA called Shadow of the Damned, and he has admitted the game that released was not the game that he intended to make. That's the game they wanted to make.
So EA's always been EA.
Exactly. So he said, he did not like working with them. He didn't like the way their structure worked. So he was upset about it, because this was the game that got released was not his game. And within this game, he's talking and throwing shade at all these big studios and embracing the indie, and what they're capable of, and showing that you don't have to have a big studio behind you to do a great game. And in fact, that's what I've heard about part 3. It didn't have a big studio behind it. It was just him and his crew, and they got an awesome game out, from what I hear. Yeah. But I don't know that. But, if you can check out either of those games, do so.
Yeah.
And then I'll, like I said, next week, No More Heroes 3, hopefully. And I'll give you my take on that, because I'm hardcore on the guy, and I know he's a very specific cup of tea for some people. I don't think he's for everybody. So, and that's fair, because I've heard mixed reviews, but we'll see if I can embrace it, or if I'm just like, oh,
someone
man.
Who's been a fan since the beginning, back when they were new.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? I can be critical. I've been critical, about the repetitive nonsense. So I can be critical. Don't think I'm just gonna fluff him forever. But anyway,
forever.
Yeah. But anyway, hey, you got some news we can talk about?
There was a little bit of news this week. Mostly Gamescom, of course. So we'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. And some of our favorite games maybe got announced, delayed, whatever. There was a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was a lot more than I was expecting. But let's start off with another. Guess who's back? Who's back in the news? Yeah. So. We have Soulja Boy back in the gaming news. Yeah. Trying to, sell a new gaming something. I'm not sure. I keep looking at it and I'm trying to understand it, but let's see here. So he returned yet again with another gaming creation, of course, from his own creative mind.
Sure.
This time he's hawking the TRDR Pocket. Which is based on the Retroid Pocket. They look exactly the same. So along with this announcement came to him taking to Instagram to let us all know he, in fact, now owns Atari.
What?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? They
No.
totally sent him an agreement that he owns Atari. He's going to take this company to a different direction. Yeah. So he live streamed this on his Instagram. That he was the de facto owner of Atari, and he blatantly says they signed me to a deal at Atari. Big shout out to Atari, the whole staff. I'm about to revamp the company. We going to take Atari to the next level. I am now the owner of Atari. I own the video game company Atari. That's what his words are now.
Okay.
He even said they were real proud of me and what I did with the Soulja Boy game console. You know what I'm saying? I blew Soulja Boy game up. All right. So, of course, after that comes out, Atari's like, what now?
Yeah, that would be my response too.
So Atari, came out and, of course, denied these claims, pointing out that Wade Rosen is still, in fact, the CEO over at Atari, and we know it's a cool job to want, but Wade still has that the pleasure of that title right now. So Soulja Boy, what does he do? Goes to back to Instagram Live to show off how right he is.
Okay.
So he, bunch of expletive deleted, this, that, or the other. It's definitely not a safe for work video. He's unhappy in it. So Soulja Boy took to another live stream to show off the contract he received that shows that he's the owner of Atari. So I kind of think this was the first time he read it, was on his Instagram Live.
I can believe it.
Because he was trying to avoid certain words on it that you could tell he was just blatantly trying to not say out loud once I think it finally clicked with him what the agreement was. It actually appears to be a marketing agreement.
Ah, okay.
So as I actually was watching another video talking about it because I didn't go to his Instagram Live, but they showed his live feed. So I paused it so I could try to read what was behind him because he put it up on the screen, for everyone to read. And it looks like it was a marketing agreement with payment of Atari tokens. Wasn't even money.
What are Atari tokens?
I think they were their stab at a Bitcoin.
Ah, gotcha. Because that's going to be worth a lot.
A failed currency, I guess, is what it looks like. So, so he's spouting off on the live stream, and as he starts to read it, completely avoid saying the word tokens. I think that was the moment when it was like, oh, this wasn't $140 million of shares of Atari. Like he was also trying to say that he had he's going to sell it for $140 million, or he's getting paid $140 million shares, however he articulated it now. So, it was a promo deal. They wanted to pay him in crypto, I guess. So, nothing with shares, nothing to do with ownership. I'm still not even sure why Atari would reach out to him for marketing because of the whole Soulja Boy console thing. But I guess PR is PR. I guess. However you look at it. Either way, I'm trying to look at this new handheld, which claims, to have a 16-hour backup battery, 1080p streaming with an OLED screen. I'm not sure I understand where the gaming really comes in because it's powered by Android. Okay. It comes with apps like Netflix, Spotify, and Apple Music just already installed. Social networking apps already installed. A processor, Bluetooth, 4 gigs of RAM. Okay. Download your songs, MP3, MP4, WAV, movies if you want. Browse with Chrome. So is it just not a phone, but a phone?
Sure, I guess.
Because, I honestly, and siblings, if I missed this, please let me know. But where does it say what games it can play? Or do you have to download your own ROM this time instead of him just giving it to you like last time, which was what got him in trouble? I don't know. So I'm a little confused. And I'm also confused at what they say is the super affordable price of $299.99.
No, you can get
a
Switch
for $300.
Legit.
Yes. So I don't know, siblings. If you want it, I guess go buy it. Let us know what you think. If it's just this gaming revolution,
No.
I don't know. This dude's something else.
He is.
He's something else.
And don't forget the legal trouble that she mentioned. We're talking about. He tried to rip off the Game Boy.
And Nintendo, you try to step on Nintendo? Oh.
Yeah, they're going to shut you down real quick.
You can't even make something that kind of looks like their property. And they're gonna,
So, yeah. Hey, and we'll talk about that a little later on anyway.
We got that too. But I mean, that's up for sale, I guess, if you want a TRDR pocket.
Just don't do it, please. Don't support this idiot. And his...
I mean, it's been in stock. I've not seen it on eBay. I've not seen any scalpers going after it.
It's because even they know, nah.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at it right now, and I can still add to cart, is all I'm saying. And it's been that way since we started, because I've just left the webpage open so I could read all of the cool features.
No, it's fine.
Well, anywho, one of these days he'll break through. I just, the passion's there. We just got to get the direction. And a little update here also from 11-Bit Studios. I mentioned last week that the reseller site Kinguin was trying to sell copies of Frostpunk 2, a game that's barely in development. And, that's pretty much the info. We know 2 is coming, full stop, They win. They took it down.
Good.
So 11-Bit Studios tweeted out over the week, our last week's response may have been harsh. But in hindsight, it looks like it was effective. So a big thank you to all of you who support the gaming community at large and all the media outlets that helped spread the message. Let's make game dev better. So congratulations to all involved. Got them to take it down. I don't know why they were profiting off of a game that doesn't exist, that even the developers don't have keys for. But there you go. So when the internet came together for good, quit ripping this off and making money off of this thing. The studio doesn't even know what they're doing completely with it yet. So just chill. We don't even know if it's going to be $40.
I'd really like to know what's happened over the last year where scalpers are now just taking hold of everything.
Too much time on our hands now.
I guess.
We had way too many people without, a basic source of income, and it was working, I guess. I don't know. I'm generalizing. I'm sure there's probably other reasons, but it seemed like it took off this last year because, well, I mean, hell, we even decided we were all going to be in stocks. This is what that year was about.
And speaking of which.
Oh, yeah?
Speaking of which, you.
Me?
What did you get?
Oh, I didn't know if I should say it yet because, it still could be stolen.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Shit. Well, hey, let's be positive.
I still have all of my expectations coming. But yes, I managed to snag a PS5. Woo! Hopefully, yeah. Stupid Walmart and that press to hold. I feel like I had to actually look up instructions on how this works. Steven, I was holding the whole time.
The whole time.
I didn't know that you were supposed to let up. I didn't understand this whole system at all. And I really did. I got mad. And I sent Steven a message. I'm like, I'm done trying Walmart. I don't understand what this press and hold is. I can't get past it. Nothing happens. I don't get a message, So as you do, you go to Twitter and see if other people were also pissy about this press and hold. And they were. And I found the tip. So when it restocked at $8.20 or something. Actually, it wasn't so bad, with the exception my credit card company was like, you don't spend money like this. And I'm like, not now!
No!
I'm trying to. This is me. I swear to God. So I ended up having to use my debit card, which is hilarious. No, why is it hilarious? You block me on my credit card, but not money directly out of my account? I mean, I get it, but that money's gone, yo. That's not even on charge. But yeah, so hopefully on September 17th is when they say my delivery date is. Woo! I will have a PS5.
And it could come sooner because I remember having, when I got mine, they told me my delivery date was going to be in January, and I got mine the day after Christmas. So,
sweet. All right.
Just keep that in mind.
I'll keep an eye. I haven't seen a shipped email or anything yet, still saying they're prepping my order. So I'm just trying to keep very realistic view. If my mailman leaves it on the porch or someone steals it, or if it even makes it to me in transit, I've read all the stories. So we'll see. So once it's in my hands and I'm holding it, then I'll be more excited. I'm just trying to keep realistic expectations so I don't cry.
Now, which one did you get, the disc or discless?
With the disc, yeah. We're still not willing to completely enter into the new age.
Yeah, I mean, I get that because I know for a fact that I could probably benefit just having the discless. But since I borrow games from Todd quite often, it felt like a misstep to not, because the games I get from him. We still
have a lot of games on disc, and in theory they're saying they should play, because I mean obviously we don't have a bunch of PlayStation 5 games yet. So it just made sense for me, and I still like to get hard copies where I can. I know I'm mostly PC, so I haven't had a hard copy really in God knows when, but I still would if that was the option.
Yeah, I guess
I really would.
I guess, kind of like you said, I like having the option. So if by chance someone gifted me a disc version of a game, I could be like, yeah, okay, cool. And I don't have to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't play it.
Right, yeah. No, I'm still not quite ready to release physical copy altogether. I'm sure that'll just come a day where it's just not even an option, and we'll just go with it. I
Yeah.
guess. What can I do?
Well, it's kind of like where I'm at with movies now. I mean, like I said, I've become obsessed with buying movies on Vudu, which probably is not a good idea, but I can't help it. It's just so easy. And when they just like $5.
I can't remember the last time I bought a movie.
But see, that's
I feel.
but that's the thing, though. I mean, depending on the movie is when it'll shift to me buying it physical, like the Marvel movies, for example.
Sure.
Gonna buy it.
Well, you
physical
like to
hard
collect them as like a keepsake or whatever, and I'm sure they put extra stuff in the hard copies that make it more fun to collect. So I can understand that.
And there are even like certain older movies that you could probably find on streaming services, but I like having like my collectible edition. Like I know all the Friday the 13th movies I think are on HBO Max or one of those services like that.
One of them, yeah.
But Shout Factory released like a big box set, all these bells and whistles and special features and stuff like that. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm getting that. Like I even had them on Blu-ray, but I was like, no, this is more. This is all the, because I'm a huge fan, so of course I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
And there's even, and I really shouldn't do this, but I can't help it. They tempt me so. Shout Factory, I think next month, at the end of next month, they're releasing the first 5 Halloween movies, 4K, every single one of them, in a box set. It's pretty expensive, but it's just like 4K Halloween, and I've got them on Blu-ray, but I'm just like,
That probably is hard to pass up.
you know?
Now that I've entered the world of 4K.
And I wouldn't even know how to split up the ones that I have, because this was like years ago. My daughter bought me the Halloween, like it was every Halloween movie ever made up to that point in one big box set on Blu-ray. And I was like, oh, cool. And I can't split those 5 out of there because they're like in slip cases within this open book set.
Yeah.
So I can't just be like, here, you take these discs and I'm going to take these 4Ks and slide them in there. It doesn't work like that. So I'm going to have extra copies. Kind of like the Universal Monster movies I have. I've got extra copies of, I got like 3 copies of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein because they
but you know
bundled
what,
them all
though?
together.
Exactly. You need to hold on to that media.
Yeah.
That could fade away.
That's true. That's
hold
true.
on to that one. You know, I'm sure it'll be out there somewhere. But
Anyway, I'm not sitting here being like, look at me, doesn't matter. I'm just saying, collectors. You know, we have our
Yeah.
our hooks, the things that just we're just like, oh God, yeah. Because I'd love to see what they could do with Halloween in 4K. I don't even know if I mentioned it here, but they did like a 4K transfer for the original Friday the 13th. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like I never thought that movie could look so pristine. But oh my, whatever they did, and it's not even a 4K DVD or Blu-ray. It's just a 4K transfer onto Blu-ray, and it looks phenomenal.
It's really cool how they can upgrade these older things to look like that. You know, like even we're getting on such a tangent.
I
But, oh shoot! Now I can't even remember the name of the show. Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Like just they didn't colorize it or anything, but I was watching it on like Hulu and they put it in HD, and I'm like, this is so crazy looking to me. Like it's so crisp and clean and clear, even in black and white.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just blew my mind.
It's
that
amazing.
We sit there and dedicate time to crisping that up, and it looked kind of weird though.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm just like, this isn't how I saw Dick Van Dyke TV show, or you know, like it's just so weird to me. But
Yeah.
it looked good. It did. It looked good.
There was a YouTube
Anywho.
channel. Well, all right. One last little tangent, and while we're on it, there's a YouTube channel, and if I can remember it, I might put it in the show links down below so you can check it out. But some company is dedicated to trying to do these high definition cleanup transfers for a lot of old stuff. And there's a clip they did showing, I think it was a Little Rascal short, and it was like, here's the original video, and then here's what we've done. It's really impressive. The amount of time and effort they put into trying to clean these things up and restore them and like preserve them, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, I applaud these people because, like you said, they're going to be lost in time eventually, and I guarantee you there's a lot of movies and stuff out there that are lost to time because
for sure.
the studios never archived them. They never took the time to do so. So I applaud them for doing the work. And again, if I can find that clip, I'll link to it.
Excellent. Good. Well, let's see here. I guess there is one more little update before we move on to the Gamescom here with Activision Blizzard's lawsuits. Kind of had there's not a whole lot new, but kind of a bad one, it would appear. But so, the CDFE has been all up in their business with this stuff. And they expanded, apparently, its lawsuit now for the gender discrimination and sexual harassment to allege that Activision Blizzard has now suppressed evidence during their initial investigation. So apparently it came out this week that the DFEH's complaint against Activision Blizzard was changed on Monday to include the allegations of retaliation, specifically that they suppressed evidence and interfered with a government investigation, showing that Activision Blizzard reportedly shredded internal documents related to complaints and investigations, showing that Activision Blizzard violated the law by not holding on to these documents like you were supposed to. So the DFEH is calling it exactly willful, malicious, fraudulent, and oppressive. So they're calling out also on the hiring of Wilmer Hale investigation as something that directly interferes by them hiring and bringing it in. They're also trying to directly interfere with the investigation that way. And they also allege that Activision Blizzard engaged in secret settlements for the sexual harassment claims and non-disclosure agreements and non-disparagement agreements with severe penalties against the employees. It's not getting better, unfortunately, the stuff that I'm hearing coming out of here. So, apparently those agreements require employees to inform Activision Blizzard before speaking with the DFEH or other government agencies regarding workplace complaints.
No, absolutely not. That is bullshit. You do not have to do that. Do not fall for that. I doubt anyone from Activision Blizzard is listening to this, but if you are, do not do that. You have a right as a working employee to file complaints against your company anonymously.
Right. Yeah.
Do not do that.
Yeah. So it's not seeming like their behavior is getting less shady. And in fact, we're just finding more and more and more and more coming out here. I mean, there really isn't much more of the update than that, because I mean, they're still ongoing and still, trying to do their investigations and proceed with this as best they can. Activision Blizzard apparently is saying that they've totally complied with every proper request in support of the review, even if we've been implementing reforms to ensure our workplaces are welcoming and safe for every employee.
Bullshit.
They're saying they didn't shred them. I mean, that this is what they're saying. So I'm just going to tell you what that's being alleged and what they're saying, and then time will tell in their investigations. But yeah, they're trying to say they've tried to hold on to everything that was relevant to be helpful, and I don't know. There is one amendment I saw in this story, though, that I found interesting, which I admit I found this morning and didn't do a bigger deep dive, so I need to look into it. But apparently a representative from Wilmer Hale told Polygon that it actually was never a client to Amazon. Because remember how we were saying like they were hired for like union busting or something at Amazon? So I'm going to have to look into that. There might be a little game of trying to throw them under the bus for something else, maybe, that I need to dig into. So with a grain of salt, that was what I see as a correction on an article that I was reading. So they were correcting themselves. So I need to do a bigger dive into that, because I'm kind of curious how that rumor would have been started then, if they were in fact not hired by Amazon for that. So yeah, they're just saying they're not a client to Amazon. Coming from Jamie Gorelick, who's a partner at Wilmer Hale.
Yeah. Because it does.
Apparently, they used to be someone was maybe a director on the Amazon's board or something, and then that probably did that whole game of telephone of a little bit of information gets lost each time and then turned into a rumor.
I mean, considering their reputation right now, that's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. But at the same time, I understand. I don't know enough about them, and we may need to look into this a little deeper.
Yeah.
But they could be looking at this as being slanderous to their company. But at the same time, when you connect those dots, this is who they were supposedly with Amazon, and now here comes Activision Blizzard hiring them for something similar. It's really hard to believe that they're not, or they didn't have anything to do with Amazon. You know what I mean?
I mean, I feel like if nothing else, they're definitely, I guess I shouldn't say definitely and eat my words later, but they're a corporate interest law firm. Like
exactly.
They'll so whatever they were hired for, we might have that information wrong or something. But I mean, if we keep seeing these big names pop up, I mean, again, I shouldn't say much more without having done my own research, because I could just dig myself into a hole that's not true. So let's talk Gamescom.
Okay,
we had a lot this week with Gamescom. So I tried to do my due diligence and catching up, because it came on while I was at stupid work and I can't watch now because it was so busy this week. But there were some ones that, highlight for me, and then obviously, you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just start it off. Saints Row, baby.
Yes.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, granted, it was a cinematic trailer, and I know I'm probably going to break my own rule here, but maybe because I've already played the other games, I kind of trust that the gameplay will be decent, because they did mention along the lines of like Saint Row 2-ish kind of mechanics and stuff like that. With like a 2 to 3 vibe to it.
There was a developer video that did show gameplay.
Then I needed to go back and do that. No, I was trying to catch them all in and write in my notes, and yeah, okay, so maybe I should. But then go ahead. If you saw more of it, tell us.
Yeah, when I saw that they had a developer video, I was curious what they would be talking about. And they were speaking with the voice actress, like she was the host of this. It was like about 7 minutes, give or take.
Okay.
She was the voice of the boss. And I was curious about that from the start when they showed the boss in the trailer. It's like, so are we setting that this is like who this person is throughout the game? Because to me, I don't have a problem with it. And something tells me I heard a lot of flack coming, like shade going to Volition's like, I don't like this new direction. Because I don't really know what they're angry about. Because I felt like it was combining like the best of both worlds, because I've never played Saints Row 1 and 2. I've only played 3, 4, and whatever came after.
Gat Out of Hell?
Yeah, Gat Out of Hell, and even Agents of Mayhem to a point. But I felt like they were trying to toe a line to appease both parties, because I've heard Saints Row 1 and 2 don't really have that crazy, kooky, like outlandish nonsense from the original, or from 3 and 4. So they were trying to find, well, how do we go back to basics like we did from 1 and 2 to appease those fans, but also kind of throw in some, crazy, kooky stuff to where we're not going over the top, but it's just, kind of
still have the humor.
Yeah, please some of those. And I felt like they were doing, knowing that going in, seeing the trailer, I was like, okay, I can see what they're doing here. And I'm cool with it. It's a Saints Row game. I have fun with Saints Row games, and I'm willing to give this a shot. But something tells me the boss being a female, that's what... I could be wrong.
You could be right, though.
But knowing gaming, gamers, I know that that's probably where a lot of this is coming from. However, if you watch the developer video, they showed you can customize the boss. And it looks like you can be male or female. I could be wrong, but there was a shot where it was like her walking into a room, and then they came back and they were talking about customization, and they were showing that same shot with different characters, male, female, different colors, different costumes, whatever. So I think it's going to be just like all the others, which is a feature I kind of wanted. It has nothing to do with her being female. If that was the way it was going to be, I'd still play it. But I liked the customization. I wanted my boss to be my boss, like the guy I created. I just thought that was cool. You can be you, I can be me.
That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. And even for trophy purposes, I always loved that they made you swap genders. It's like, you got to play as this gender for X amount of time, and then you can get this trophy. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll do it.
Right. Yeah.
No big deal.
Right.
So I could be wrong, but I'm just something in my heart of hearts.
We might have unfortunately defaulted to that because of, just
because that's what
hullabaloo people decided to have with other characters.
What it always is,
or whatever. Yeah, their fictional character. Oh my god.
But from what I saw, they were talking about this new town, which kind of looks to be like a desert town, like in Arizona or something like that. If you were to kind of
I got
gather.
that feel.
And then, same as some of the other games, you got different factions of gangs. Each one has their own way of approaching how they fight and how they interact with you. And they even said story-wise it's supposed to be more heart. Like, you really want to hang out with these characters. You want them to be in your home every day. Like, that was kind of their goal. They want you to just love and embrace these characters. And everything they said, I'm in for it.
I think it looks fine. I have enjoyed the few that I've played in the past, and I'm willing to keep my eye on it and see what more is coming out, It just looked cool. And I almost was having inner turmoil where I'm like, why am I excited for a game that didn't give me gameplay in the trailer? Because I've always been against that. But so I broke my rule. I watched it and I was excited.
But it was. Initially, it was just the cinematic trailer, but I think it was the day after they posted that developer video. So go check that out just to kind of get a feel for it. I'm excited for it. And you know what, gamers? How about this? Instead of judging something that hasn't come out yet, wait until it does, and then you can piss and moan about it all you want.
Yeah.
Because
you don't really know yet what it's going to be.
You don't.
So.
You really
don't. All
don't.
mad now. And it maybe just come to terms with the fact not all of them will be for you.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? There are so many games out there. You can go play those other games.
That's my thing. It's like when you start complaining about it, it's like, well, then it wasn't for you. Go find one that is. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so I'm excited for that. And also, Sifu, we got a date. We got a date. Looks like release in February 22nd next year. We had been keeping an eye on that. It was just the art style and everything alone that really stood out to me as a kind of a unique for a fighting game of this ilk, I guess, if you will. So got a release date. That's always exciting when we start to get legit solid dates. Of course, I guess we should still keep it with a grain of salt, huh? I feel like I'm still on that train where we gotta wait and see what happens. But I was actually surprised at this. Like, there was another Marvel game that I was seeing, and I was like, I feel like maybe I kind of heard about it, but maybe it had completely slipped my mind.
I don't remember hearing about it before this, so this was news to me. Maybe like rumors that it was coming?
Maybe that there was something else, because I kind of feel like when I started reading about it a little bit more where it had like that XCOM feel, I was like, I feel like maybe, but who knows? As much news as we've read all year long, in my brain, dear Lord. It was only a cinematic trailer again on this one, but there might have been a developer one that I missed.
I didn't see that.
But supposedly this week, though, we'll be getting some gameplay. They were talking about releasing some footage for that. So I guess more discussions will be had this following week, and we'll see. The trailer was cool. It was fun to just watch as a Marvel thing. So, there's that.
I do have beef with it, though.
Okay.
Because as a hardcore Marvel fan, as we all have discussed in the past, this, when I saw what they were announcing, and then I saw characters like Blade, Ghost Rider, and even Wolverine, I was like, okay.
Just hanging out with the gang.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I can see what they're doing here. And then I saw Iron Man, I was like, okay. I guess we'll work that in because we need one of the bigger dogs. Why not?
Sure.
And then I saw Captain Marvel and Captain America and other Avengers, and I'm like, what? Now, wait a second. Wait just one damn minute. These characters do not fit within this narrative. Marvel has a roster of darker characters that would be perfect. And you could introduce them now in a game like this to get them prepared for their appearances in the MCU. Like, one character in particular that I know that they're working on a series for right now is Moon Knight. He's a lesser-known character. I get that. But you put him in this game, people will remember. They did that with Kamala Khan in Marvel's Avengers. I know the game sucks, but there she is. You get acquainted with her there if you played it. And then when her show comes out, boom. You're like, oh, yeah, that's, remember her.
We have a little base that's already got an idea of what's going on there.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not use some of these darker characters like Moon Knight, Sleepwalker?
But people are fans of these is probably why.
I know,
they feel like it'll definitely sell more because they're like, oh, my God, I get to play all these favorites.
But it just seems like I said, Wolverine fits because he's that guy who just he seems to toe a line. He can be with the big dogs. He can be with the darker characters. Doesn't miss a beat. Punisher, you could throw him in there because he's not necessarily a supernatural hero, but he would fit.
True.
Because he's a street level, and he could. Daredevil, why not?
Yeah.
Darker character.
And we've already kind of introduced those into the world.
Yeah. So why not these characters, instead of going with the basic Avengers? We've had the Avengers. Give some of the love to some of these other characters that are lesser known in a bigger game. You can still lead with
That's
some
fair.
of your bigger characters like Ghost Rider and Wolverine and Blade. That's my beef with it.
I'm sure it's just 100% down to what they feel other people are going to be familiar with and want to buy into because they're more marketable like us right now or whatever. But you make a good point. Like, we should be brave enough to try to venture into the other areas. And then you never know what kind of these stories and everything will get created from that.
Yeah.
New fans.
And fans,
Maybe you could do another type of show instead of rebooting the same thing.
Right. And furthermore, I mean, they didn't slap the Avengers name on it, so you're not beholden to them. It's just called Midnight Sun, so there you go. That was that was an entire run of comics at one time.
Oh yeah.
Like a brand. So why not embrace those characters? I don't know. I'm just
Money, I'm sure. I don't know, but I feel like they would have been more expensive to get too. I don't know.
Right?
I don't know how any of this works.
Right?
Clearly, I have no clue. Let's see here. Oh, Shredder's Revenge. I'm sorry. This is scratching an itch I didn't know I had, and I want it in my hands right now. Along with that, then you get to see April O'Neil as a playable character. Now, granted, I loved the Turtles. Mm-hmm. All of my guy friends wanted to impose April on me, but I wasn't about that life. I really wanted to be a turtle. Yeah. Okay? I wanted to be one of the turtles. Now, while I'm excited, April is a playable character, and I'll totally do it. Mm-hmm. I still need to be my, Leonardo and Michelangelo. Just saying. Those are my favorites. Those are the ones I liked. I mean, granted, I know he was a little pissy.
But.
It's probably why we see eye to eye. I'm like, I understand when people are being idiots. This just makes you upset. And I get it.
Right. See, like the turtle that I've always leaned toward was Raphael. Because I feel like we have... Well, I get him. I get where he's coming
temperament.
from. Yeah, I get it.
I can see that.
And what I found when they announced April, I was like, oh, you know what? That could open up a door of possibilities. Because if you're adding her in, why not add a few more characters in? Because along with her... You could add in Casey Jones.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Please.
And if you really wanted to go with like a deep, deep cut, there is, if anyone remembers, and we don't have to lean toward that specifically, but there is a female turtle. Okay? Now, I don't know if you remember this, but in the 90s, late 90s, there was a live action show on Fox Kids called Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, where they introduced a turtle by the name of Venus de Milo, and she was the 5th female turtle.
I do not know how I missed this. This is great.
So you could utilize her, or in the comics, they have also revealed a female turtle, and why not her? You know? That way, if you still want to be a turtle, but you want to be a girl, boom. You got the best of both worlds.
Done.
Or you don't have to be a girl. You can play whoever you want, damn it.
Whatever you want it to be. Whatever you want it to be. I mean, but she got some skills, though.
She does.
Oh, yeah, she got some skills
and it's
there.
glad to see her not just being the damsel in distress. She's kicking ass now.
She got to get in there and actually fight and kick some butt, you know? She was also announced as a playable character in that Nickelodeon game, too. Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl. Mm-hmm. So she's coming out doubly, I guess.
That's right.
And they also announced Cat Dog going into that game. This Nickelodeon thing, it just looks so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. But hey, they got all these characters. Why not just smash them together?
They really did. All of your Nickelodeon favorites, I guess. I feel like this might have been just slightly after my time, or maybe I just didn't watch a lot of Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I mean,
because I do recognize the characters, the shows, and stuff like that, but I don't remember dedicating any time to sitting down and I have to watch it this time or whatever. So I'm familiar with Ren and Stimpy and Cat Dog and all that stuff, but I don't recall watching it regularly.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm same way. I know of the characters. It's just not, I don't have any attachments to them.
Right.
It's just like,
maybe that's where I'm at, where I was like, I recognize those, but there's nothing pulling me towards it per se. So we'll get Double the O'Neill.
Now,
To
go off on a minor little tangent, since we're talking about this crossover thing, this is totally random, but it does work in to what I'm talking about here. Do you remember Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear that they're doing a team-up movie with Scooby-Doo?
I did not.
Yeah. I think it's coming out next month, and when I saw this, I was like, is this a joke? And I found a trailer for it. I was like, holy shit, Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Interesting.
That seems like a match that should have happened long ago. Like, because they're just two peas in a pod, two scaredy little dogs. So I'd
be down for this.
Yeah. I mean, that was not a show that I did watch it, but not, like you said, dedicated to watching it. I have seen a couple episodes here, and I was like, yeah, this is entertaining. I like it. But not like huge, oh my God, Courage. But I kind of want to watch it because I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Did they say when? Is it, or is it already?
I think middle of September, but I can't think of an actual date per se.
That's fine. We can find out then. Cool. Horizon Forbidden West was delayed a little bit. Looks like a little bit. So now it looks like we're looking at February of 2022.
Didn't they actually set a date for that? Like an actual day?
I think February. Hold on.
I feel like it was the 18th.
February 18th.
Ah,
2022. I had to where on my notes did I write it? Yes. So just a little bit of a delay.
Nothing wrong with that.
But they did release a new patch for Horizon Zero Dawn, giving you 60 FPS on PS5. Have you tested it? Tested it?
I haven't. I read about it this morning, and I kind of want to just
look. Go run around, man. See if it's bloody smooth. See if it looks good. Let me know. Because so that at least they're giving you a little something, keeping you wanting to play the other one. There's DLC, keep you on doing that. So just a little delay, but you know me, delay, make it good. Let's not fight about it. Let's not turn around and need a refund. And take it from the PlayStation Store, like Cyberpunk. Let it do its thing. I think it's back now, though. Actually, on the PlayStation Store.
If you want to take that risk, go right ahead.
I've seen hard copies for like $10 at Best Buy or something, like online.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cult of the Lamb by Devolver. What did you think? Did you watch that?
Oh my God, I missed this.
It's okay. Because
explain
as soon as I saw Devolver, I was like, okay, what do you got going for? So the Cult of the Lamb, I watched it this morning. So it looks like you're playing a sacrificial lamb.
Oh my gosh.
That like rises up and creates its own cult.
Oh my God.
So I guess you're just like getting revenge on your own cult of fighting animals. And it kind of has like a dungeon crawler feel to it. All in all, I'm not completely... I'm not sure I completely nailed down like what the story might even be, or if there is one. You have to watch the video because I don't know that any words can do it justice by watching it. But now it's on my radar, and I want to see it, and I want to play it, and I recommend if you've not watched The Cult of the Lamb,
I'm gonna have to look into this.
You have to look it up. I mean, but they're a cute little lamb. This cute, adorable little lamb. And then it's just, they kept showing you scenes of like you in your dungeon before your cult of animals. Like now you're their cult leader because you managed to survive getting sacrificed. And then they all bow to you, because you're the lamb. Devolver, I'm telling you, they find some unique little studios to do stuff with. So I'm keeping an eye on that. It looks like 2022. I didn't see like a solid date, so just sometime in 2022.
Yeah, looking at this page here, it just says early 2022. Just reading the description of what this game is, and even the pictures themselves. Like, I'm gonna have to look at the trailer now, but this is just like, what?
What exactly?
It's so cutesy, but it just sounds so dark.
Cute and dark. They do know how to toe that line pretty well, I feel like. So yeah, I definitely check that one out because I feel like that's going to be one I'm going to have to try out.
Sure.
I don't know. Is Metroid Dread getting you excited yet? Because I saw we had another trailer for that.
The trailer that I watched, I think they released another one, but the one that I watched seemed more cinematic than actual gameplay, but I'm still in for it because after we saw the first footage of gameplay where it's the 2D, like going back to basics platformer, I honestly feel like that's where Metroid belongs. Like I did play the Prime series, or at least the first. Well, I guess there's only 3 up to now, and then 4 will be coming out soon, supposedly. But they were fun, and I enjoyed them. But anytime I think of Metroid, if you told me you can pick one Metroid game to go back and play, Super Metroid would be it. Because the way that one plays, everything about it is just so pitch perfect. And to me, that's the way Metroid should be played. And not to say there's anything wrong with, playing with the formula here, but I like that they're going back to basics. That to me,
a little more old school.
Yeah. It just,
Let
it
these
works.
kids see what it was about.
No, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. So,
Excellent. Yeah, it didn't look like there was much more news on that. Just saw that it was like another trailer probably made for Gamescom to have something a little bit to announce and have a presence there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep our eye on that too. Let's see what more Outlast. I'm sure you saw that. We're getting more Outlast. It's called the Outlast Trials. I don't know. Like, I watched the trailer. It looks like more scary first person horrifyingness. And if you're into it, there you go.
I could do without
more. I can't handle them all. I did play them while I streamed. Well, no, I played the first one. I think that was it. Only the first one. And then it's DLC that came with it or whatever, like the extra. No. I peed a little bit every time. It's not good for you.
Speaking of which, Todd actually let me borrow Resident Evil 8, so I guess I'll be talking about that whenever I get around to it.
There you go. Yeah, you got your backlog's getting larger. But who doesn't, right, siblings? Who doesn't have a backlog that's ridiculous?
You heard me talking about Returnal there for about 2 weeks, and I haven't talked about it since. Because
Never went back and finished it?
No, because it just...
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, no, that would frustrate
I want to have fun with my games. I don't want to be angry at them. I guess
It's just not our style.
I've gotten to an age where I want to have fun. I don't want to be frustrated.
It's for some people that is fun, and if that's for you, great.
Yeah. If you want
If doing something crushingly hard that breaks your soul is fun for you, then by all means.
Yeah. I'm beyond that. I like it for the story, the gameplay.
Right,
just the adventure. I don't want to just be like, you gotta beat this boss and he's gonna smack you around.
And you gotta do it in extra hard mode, and you gotta do it's like, no, I don't.
No, I don't. I'm old school gamer.
You have to.
You want to talk about
play it on whatever level I want.
Yeah, you just remember that shit. Anytime people are like, old school, you're not a real gamer. If you didn't grow up with NES games that didn't give you options for difficulty and you had to play that son of a bitch hard.
And you didn't get to save, jerks.
Yeah. Think about a game over
you
screen.
You died and you just had to start all over.
You don't know.
Real gamer. How many games have you not finished just because you didn't have a walkthrough or anything? Huh?
Anyway.
All right, let's see. What else was on Gamescom here? Midnight Fight Express actually looked kind of cool. I thought you might dig this one maybe a little bit as well. Game developed by one guy, Jacob Dzwinkle, DZWINKEL. I'm sorry, Jacob. You're just Jacob from here on out because I'm not sure I said that at all. The D might be silent. I don't know. But published by Humble Games. It just looked like a little fast-paced action brawler, kind of top-down, side-by-side thing. I don't like Pedro-esque art style. I thought it looked like it might be kind of fun. It might be a little bit too much for me eventually because it does look like the further they get along, the more like timing and fighting and everything that you'll have to do. But hey, like you don't get much more indie than just one dude pushing out a thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely would check that one out. Oh shoot, did it have a release date? Because if they did, I was stupid.
Says summer 2022.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
That's all we got.
Staring at it. I looked like I started to write it, and then who knows with me.
Yeah, I'd definitely give this one a look. This one must have went past me a little bit.
That looked like one you might like, maybe for like a week or two.
Sure.
I don't know. There's plenty of games like that for me where I'm like, oh, I would be hardcore into this for like 2 weeks, and then I know I would probably not touch it again. Halo Infinite looks like they might have got a release date for you finally, guys. I don't know. I don't know if I trust it, but if you're into it, December 8th looks like what they're aiming for, 2021. now.
Congrats.
I know it's had such a hard time. I feel like this. Didn't they initially want to release this with X? Like that was the original plan, like to release. Yeah. I mean, gestures broadly to last year. So we'll see. So maybe you guys who love Halo will get your new Halo the end of the year.
But did we mention what was going on with that too? I don't remember if we said anything about last week where it's only releasing single player, no co-op or multiplayer.
Oh, yes. I don't remember if I said that. We talked about it then either. Yeah, they were a little, they weren't so happy. Yeah, I guess that is kind of the draw for it, right? Because like once you've beaten the story and everything, I thought the whole... and now again, correct me if I'm wrong, siblings, but I thought like the draw with those types of games were the constant playing on the multiplayer.
That seemed to be the going rate on Twitter. That it seemed to be what I heard. So I know that I was talking. I think I'd talked to or it was brought up on Twitter and I retweeted or something like that. And Lucas Egan, who we've had on the show, if everybody remembers.
Oh yes, lovely, lovely gentleman.
You know, he was talking about, he's disappointed because that was one of his favorite things, playing Halo with, you know, friends and family and whatnot. And I kind of brought up that it was no doubt a symptom of, we've just got to get this game out and we'll fix it later. Just go ahead and drop it and we'll put in multiplayer later. And because we just have to do it now. We can't wait any longer. And you got to get that mindset out.
Yeah. I am disappointed in how we hawk things now because it's like we have to talk about it way too far out and promise all these things way too far in advance. And like, it's okay to just let us know 6 months out. Yeah. Talk to the developers and see where the game actually is and ask the people making the game, the developers, when they think it'll be done. And then the suits can make a decision on when it's coming out.
Yeah.
Let's stop this whole giving them a date and a deadline and then go. How about just like, here's a game we'd like you to make. Let us know when we're close.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice.
Right? No crunch for them. No high expectations or us bitching about it on Twitter because, we can't be mature enough to just wait. Mm-hmm. Just like, let's move past all that garbage we've got going on with that. Well, those are the ones that caught my eye that I felt compelled to chat about. How about you? Did I miss any favorites? There was a lot. I know I didn't mention all of them because, I mean, you even have the Death Stranding Director's Cut, which I'm not sure I understand because I thought people told me that game was already severely long, but... Kojima, if you're a fan, you get more of it. I know Call of Duty Vanguard got a mention. November 5th, I think, release for that. So like stuff it seemed like we already kind of knew about.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that other than what we've talked about. I mean,
I know I watched a ton of little trailers there. I just kind of the other night sat down and was like, all right. And I went to the webpage and I was just like, let's watch all these trailers. Let's see what all, because I didn't get to watch it all live. So I didn't get all the Jeff Keighley fun, or if there was, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't watch the opening thing.
But like you said, there was just so much. I mean, it was so really hard to keep track of everything. And
Which is good. It's exciting. Yeah. It's exciting for sure. It's a good problem to have. Too many games to talk about. Yeah.
But I can't think of anything else right offhand that makes me think that there's something I'm wanting to talk about. So
I mean, I guess y'all got some more screenshots and stuff from Elden Ring, so I guess some more proof that that's moving forward for those who were excited about it. But I don't recall seeing much else other than just like some more screenshots and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess then, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up? That's all I got, man. I was, like I said, we got no quick hits, no nothing. Mm-hmm. I was like, I saw Gamescom. I'm like, we got to cut out for us there already.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this to all of our siblings out there. If there's a game that we didn't cover or
please
talk about,
tell me.
Let us know on Twitter, and we'll talk about it next week. If you drop it, we'll look into it, and we'll talk about it. Because
I want to see it. What were you excited for? Yeah, there's got to be some stuff out there, siblings. Like, which one did you go, oh, my God, yes. Oh, my God, yes. This looks great. I want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Nothing. I'm just trying to thumb through some headlines, and nothing is like, oh, my God, oh, yes. So
Right, like I was content with what was shown off and content with the amount of stuff that I wasn't quite aware was going on in the gaming sphere, and to find out that it was. So yeah.
okay, I'll drop
Keep
one.
my eye on that.
I'll drop
Yeah.
one
Ooh.
based. I don't know how much was actually shown, but I know this was talked about over the past week, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. Since we got a little bit more information about that, there was talk about
Right.
music being a huge part in the game, like actual musical track, kind of like what they've done in the movies, and something about you can set up a playlist and the playlists create buffs and stats for your characters or something like that. So the mechanic itself, if you look up
That's
this article,
unique.
yeah, it sounded really interesting. So, and they even mentioned that there will be like legit music from like Kiss and Iron Maiden and just like some of these. And I'm like, all right, you got my attention.
Totally Star Fox way to go.
Yeah. So
yeah.
but yeah, look up that article. I don't have it in front of me, but I remember reading that and I was like, all right, well, you're starting to really sell me on this.
Yeah. I mean, I like those kinds of games already.
Mm-hmm.
Those like very, very story driven and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I was already kind of willing to give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to keep reading into it and keep going, is it delayed? Is it this? Is it whatever?
Yeah.
I'm very content keeping myself ignorant to some of it.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
To
And
keep it fresh for me, you know?
I just wanted to be a step above Marvel's Avengers, and I don't really feel like that's going to be too hard. And they look like
Well-
they're on the right path.
Right, yeah. So cool. Well, that's all I got. What are we wrapping her up on?
Well, I got a story. Because I've got those stories, and I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to tell this week, but I got a good one for you. I think this will be a fun story for everybody to kind of relax on the Gamescom thread.
Now that we're chilling down from that.
But we were talking about Nintendo, and we mentioned that Nintendo can be a little harsh when you
They
try
like
to step on
protect
their toes.
stuff.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back to the 80s. That wonderful time.
I like the 80s. It's a good time.
So growing up in the 80s, most of us jumped on board the Nintendo train. I mean, there were some people playing Atari or Sega or maybe even a TurboGrafx. I never even saw one of those in real life ever.
I had an Atari though.
But Nintendo seemed to be where it was at. That was like the prime console that everybody wanted. We played some of the most fun and challenging games ever made, and we got damn good at them because practice and persistence is what it was all about.
Right.
But I will admit, there were a few games that never got easier. They were just frustrating. And you're saying, I just want to beat this game.
Contra.
Do this, Contra. But then you had the code.
Yeah, well, when you could get it.
Yeah. Those games have now and will forever be extremely difficult, all because certain programming elements that they put into the game, and they just wanted them to be hard. But in the 90s, we were introduced to something that would change our gaming world forever. Now, if you didn't have enough lives in Super Mario Brothers, it's not a problem. No energy to fight that Robot Master in Mega Man? No worries. Giving up on Battletoads because the game was just so unforgiving? It really was. Just give it another try. Only this time, play with some real power. God-level power. Now, if you're sitting there thinking and hearing that statement, thinking to yourself, you dumb bastard, gods aren't real, then clearly you weren't alive in a time long ago when such myths existed. Now, back in 1986, brothers Richard and David Darling founded Codemasters, which is currently one of the oldest British game studios. But it won't be for long, since it was recently acquired by EA earlier this year.
Oh, God, no!
But that's not the focus of our story. Anyway, the brothers wanted to make a big splash in the marketplace. The problem was that the marketplace was already a little crowded. How are they going to make a name for themselves in this crowded room? Well, being sharp businessmen, they developed a plan that would make budget-priced games with the quality of full-price games in hopes of gaining a larger customer base that would subsequently create better exposure. And to produce more games in less time, the brothers hired developers on a freelance basis with each dev assigned to a single game. Now, in the first year, the company churned out several games like BMX Simulator, Super Robin Hood, and Dizzy, all released on various platforms like the Commodore 64, the Amiga, and the ZX Spectrum. Nintendo wasn't initially on their radar, seeing as how the console wasn't exactly popular in the UK at that moment. But eventually, they realized how big Nintendo was and made it their mission to get involved with them. The Darling brothers approached the company at a Las Vegas computer entertainment show about getting into the Nintendo business. However, according to them, or their sources, they were greeted with a less than warm welcome because they didn't, quote, book an appointment. So, Nintendo's attitude motivated Codemasters to find a workaround and say to hell with their damn seal of approval. They just had to find a way to pull it off. Now, if you recall our recent tale of Wisdom Tree and Color Dreams, we reiterated Nintendo's strict licensing policy. Color Dreams found a workaround to reverse engineer the chip, and Kinguin went that step further and straight up broke the law by, stealing patents. Morons. So what approach did Codemasters take? Well, you be the judge. Obviously, the issue was the 10 NES lockout chip, which was an integrated circuit looking for a key that could only be found in Nintendo-supplied cartridges. That's how they got you.
Oh.
Now, having this information, the company turned to their resident genius, Ted... I hate that. I don't want to say Carrion because that's not his name. Caron. Carron. Caron?
Yeah, let's go Caron.
Ted
that
Caron.
Sounds good.
Initially, Codemasters developed a method that required their games to be played through what is referred to as a, quote, pass-through cartridge, where a licensed game had to be used to play their game so it could bypass the chip. And it sounds as complicated as I just made it sound.
And maybe more so.
And even more so. In fact, I'm not even sure how accurate that description is, like how the device worked to pass through and make the chip work. But I was going to say, maybe one of our Gaming Alexandria listeners could maybe point that out and point us in the right direction to really understand the mechanics of that. Because something tells me they know somebody who knows all about this.
For sure. Right?
Anyway, this helped begin their journey to the NES, porting over some of the early PC works onto the console, and would be crucial in designing one of their biggest devices. Now, seeing how this was a complicated method, they continued working on an alternative method, I can't talk, which boiled down to a new cart design with a switch on the back. So what does the switch do? Well, it bypasses that pesky little chip. But how exactly? Now, you foolish kids, you want to know all about how the bread is made. Would it make a difference knowing that this switch activates a signal that emits multiple kilohertz to trick the lockout chip into communicating, which then allows the circuit to generate negative voltage into the chip that essentially crashes it?
I already stopped listening.
Yeah. I'm not going to say this was ideal, but it worked. Mostly.
Yeah. Well, it got the job done.
Yeah, it got the job done. Now, eventually, the company wanted to create something new, something that would appeal to everyone. The team began brainstorming on a game idea that would allow numerous options for the player, playing a game the way you want to play it. This led to another line of thinking where they pondered the ability to alter all games in the same fashion. But such a feat seemed impossible until they realized that it wasn't entirely accurate. Ted Caron created a makeshift dev kit to work on this concept. In 6 months, Caron had developed a device that could interface with a game's code utilizing hexadecimal values. Entering a new string of code from the user interface could thereby alter a game's normal state. Some may say it's cheating.
Maybe. Playing it not how they built it.
They preferred the term enhancing.
Enhance, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, most gamers at the time weren't exactly fluent in hexadecimal code. Most probably still aren't.
Were they thinking of that at all?
Luckily, the company had a friend in Graham Rigby who owned nearly every single NES game released at the time and was able to help develop code strings for this new device. Now, to help sell this new device in new markets, Codemasters turned to a company called Camerica, which is a Canadian video game company which was owned and operated by David J. Harding, who is an old friend of the Darling brothers. Camerica had also had some bad blood with Nintendo due to lawsuits against them due to peripherals that they created for the NES, like the Turbotronic and the Freedom Stick, which didn't ring a bell at first, but the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I think I do remember that.
I don't know that I do.
The Freedom Stick sounds more, I think it was like a big joystick, from what I can remember. Obviously, this didn't hinder the company from pressing on, and they were happy to jump on board. Together with U.S. distributor Galoob, 1990 saw the release of the Power Pack, or, as it may be more widely known, the Game Genie.
I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to spoil the surprise. I was wondering if that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
The Game Genie. I had one.
The Game Genie allowed players to attach their favorite games to the device, insert said device into their NES. Upon powering up the console, you would be greeted to a screen allowing you to enter a series of code up to 3 lines that would, quote, patch your game. The Game Genie was sold with a booklet containing a variety of codes for many games that were available, and as new games were released, new booklets could be purchased containing newer codes. See? Nickel and diming happened in the gaming industry decades ago.
Microtransactions.
Yeah, look at that. The all-new gaming device was a big hit, and you know when something's a big hit on a Nintendo console and Nintendo didn't know about it, Nintendo files lawsuits.
Of course.
Which is exactly what happened here, but not in the way you'd expect. In a preemptive move, assuming a prediction of Nintendo's response to the Game Genie, in May 1990, Galoob filed a complaint against Nintendo in U.S. District Court. The company was seeking a declaratory judgment that the Game Genie did not violate Nintendo's copyrights, as well as an injunction preventing Nintendo from modifying their NES game system to make it incompatible with the Game Genie. Got it? They were afraid that Nintendo was going to see this and be like, no, we got to change shit so they can't get past our code or our chip.
Okay.
So we're going to change everything, and then this thing's going to be worthless.
Okay.
So Galoob was like, no, you can't. No, we're filing a lawsuit right now or an injunction right now, and you cannot change things because this is legit and that's it. You know.
Oh, this is great. You can't change your own system.
Right.
For you.
So Nintendo responded by filing a complaint against Galoob, seeking an injunction to prevent them from selling the Game Genie.
Sure, that I'd expect.
Yeah. The court granted Nintendo's injunction, but was ordered to post a bond for Galoob to be compensated for any loss of sales during the length of the case if Galoob wins.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Galoob immediately appealed but was denied that. However, a year later, a trial concluded that in Galoob's favor, citing that there was no violation of copyright. This was explained by pointing out that the device itself is worthless without a game, and nothing the Game Genie does constitutes a derivative work. They're not copying the game, they're just altering code, or adding code to a game.
Sure, okay.
If consumers want to experiment with the games they have fairly paid for, it is their right to do so. See?
Yeah.
Nintendo didn't like this. And they appealed.
Of course. Yeah.
But they were denied.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And remember that bond Nintendo had to pay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, initially it was set to $100,000 and a loss of profits. However, a hearing revalued their losses and compensated Galoob over $15 million in losses and legal fees.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. And this was in the 90s?
Yeah. With this hurdle now out of the way, Codemasters developed Game Genies for more consoles. The Super Nintendo.
Hell yeah, they did.
The Game
Why don't
Boy.
you push them out?
The Sega Genesis. And even the Game Gear. In fact, Sega even officially licensed their devices from Codemasters, putting their seal. Like, look, this is an officially licensed Sega product. Come on. It's almost like a middle finger to Nintendo.
I mean, well,
Because there was that beef.
there is beef.
However, Codemaster's biggest problem going forward was the one who started it all in the first place, Galoob. There are documented comments stating that Codemasters and Galoob spent many years in court fighting over certain aspects of ownership of the game Genie. However, all good stuff has apparently been sealed behind tight lips. Like, I couldn't find anything about these lawsuits. Like, they are just can't talk about it, don't want to talk about it, whatever it may be. All the good stuff is just gone. Despite that, we can all probably surmise greed had a lot to do with it, and subsequently led to its downfall. Because Comerica folded in 1993, Galoob was sold to Hasbro in 1998, and they had no interest in a Game Genie. Codemasters never produced another Game Genie device, but has continued developing games such as popular series titles like F1 and Dirt, which I've never played, but there you go.
Right.
However, the game-enhancing fun didn't stop with the death of the Genie. In fact, it opened a whole new market, which was filled with pro-action replays and Game Sharks. Both were game-enhancing devices with a few more bells and whistles. My personal favorite was the Game Shark for the N64, which allowed me to detect changes in value in a game, thereby create a code for those changes. So, like, if I lost a life, it would search for the change in the code. And then I could die again, and it would look for the code again and be like, okay, I see it. This is the line you're looking for. So alter this code, and then boom, you got infinite lives.
Yep.
So I thought that was really clever.
Yeah.
Additionally, Game Genie codes have been used in numerous other emulator applications for infinite lives and energies and so on and so forth. So, they're still out there in emulators.
We like to cheat.
Yeah. So don't think it just died off. People just found a different way to utilize it. And,
right. It upgraded with the times.
The Game Genie granted me a wish as a kid. Games that felt impossible to complete suddenly became fun new adventures that never felt boring but exhilarating because I could take them on. I never felt as though I was cheating myself out of anything, just enhancing my current playthrough.
Well done. Did you have one?
I had one for the Super Nintendo. I do remember borrowing one for the NES, and then, of course, I had the Game Shark for the N64. So, yeah, I had one for the Super Nintendo, but codes there were about limited to whatever book I had.
Sure. Yeah. I remember that little thing. I'm not sure. I don't remember if I had one or if it was my girlfriend across the street who always brought it over. Like that's the detail I can't remember because I don't see it in my collection still of stuff because that is the one thing I'll keep is like my consoles and hard copy games since, I started playing games. And, but my God, we played with that thing so much. It was fun though. Well, fun. Well, that's our show. Let us know, siblings. Do you have a Game Genie?
Did you enjoy it?
Did you enjoy it? What was the one you remember using it on? I, for some reason, remember like Contra and like Turtles for whatever reason. Because the four of us two of us, I guess, because you didn't have four controllers, We'd get together and play that, but we just wanted to beat it so bad while we were all together. We would just pop it in that so we wouldn't die.
Yep.
Or when we did, it didn't matter. Excellent. Well, that's our show. Don't forget, you can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. You can also send us email over to supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts time and love into. And you can support the show by liking and leaving your reviews on your preferred platform and even going over to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions to support. Tell your friends. You can search Pencil and Paper Podcast Network or just Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo, found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, Itch Stuff, another one, YouTube, I think, too. Yeah, let's try to remember all the other ones you added it to. I think we just need to go wherever you listen.
It's everywhere. Trust me.
I should stop trying to label them all off. You've probably heard the last attempt. There you go. Thank you so much for listening, though. I'm Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then...
Game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.